I do have a personal story. When I was in DFLL NTU, the 台大外文系, we had a little book club of my friend group. And then so we would sometimes gather together. We would read through the text that we are going to have a test on. I remember there's one friend who she's having some beef with me. So whenever we have the book club, we would be, so you are in charge of these pages, and then you have to read through them and then give it a good summary or maybe reflection. And then we can share our reflections to kind of, through this process to, I guess, speed up our learning process, right? Then sometimes I read slower and she'd be like, oh yeah, I know you, Chris, you're a slow reader in English, right? So don't worry, we will wait for you, right? And then I was like, what do you mean?
That's beef, right?
That's beef.
Is it like a passive aggressive thing?
Passive aggressive, exactly. Yes. And then so it's beef in caps, right? BEF right in her face with me. And I was like, oh, you know me. I am very competitive. I don't like losing.
Oh.
So I think since the sophomore year, I changed everything into English, right? Like my computer system language, my cell phones as well. And also, I think the biggest change was after I changed the game language to English. So I had to play World of Warcraft and League of Legends in English.
Oh.
And sometimes it has that urgency or immediacy in gameplay, right? Because you have to read through a lot of text to know, if I pick this card, what kind of superpower it will
Oh,
give
you have to read it very quickly.
That's right. And then so I was like, I want to be a fast reader, so I have to do this. Wow. And then after doing that for like half a year, I actually realized, wow, now I read English text so fast, so quick. So that kind of actually expedites my English reading. So I think it's true when they say no pain, no gain.
And I also discovered something like interesting, like students in like 台大, right? I mean, it's you have to be super smart or super hardworking. Or super lucky.
We're just super good at taking tests.
Yeah.
We're super good at getting good grades. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, most of them, your classmates, they are all very competitive, right?
Or arrogant and conceited.
Yeah, because people around me, classmates, friends around me, they are not like that, right? So this is like kind of like, refreshing. Because my classmates, we kind of we like skip classes or.
Oh, I skip classes a lot. Don't worry, I do that as well. Right.
We are not competitive, we kind of just like, maybe we are competitive when it comes to like, we are not competitive about like good grades. We are competitive about
like real life things, like who has the handsomest boyfriend type of thing.
We're trying to find like a common ground. We're not competing. We are more like comforting each other. Oh, you didn't go to that professor's class? Oh, neither did I. So that feels comforting, But I think in schools like this, when there are super competitive students, they're kind of like, they are not doing the same thing as us, right?
Trust me, I also failed a lot of courses during my full year of bachelor degree. Don't worry, I do that as well. So maybe I'm not then. I'm you guys. I just happened to be at NTU for a chance. I was like, why am I here, right? And then that's right. I think that's the only reason why I feel like, I had to be so good at reading. And then I think something also similar happened to me. I also had a student, I think it's okay to say her name, Jessica, right? She probably will appear in a lot of my stories. And then she loves me. And then I think I also don't hate her. I like her as a student. But sometimes she can be I feel like she is, I'm only guessing, maybe she has ADHD. So sometimes she doesn't really filter what she's going to say in the classroom. And then so one time she's like, you are a really good teacher, Chris. But then I would love to take maybe teacher read arts classes more because she has the better American accent. What are you talking about?
Oh, no.
That's right. And then I think at that point, I already saw myself as being very close to a standard West Coast American English speaker. I still have my Taiwanese accent sometimes, right? But then I feel like sometimes as an English teacher, in order for us to persuade our student that we are good at English and we are good at teaching, is to speak English with people say the native accents, right? Or perceived native accents. So she picked on my accent. And then I was like, oh, you know what I'm talking about? This is so messed up. And so after that, I actually did a lot more work on my accents again, because we all know that you don't have to be insecure with your accents, but then at times as an English teacher, you still do, because students give you flack if you don't pronounce English word like a native speaker. And those kind of things kind of accumulated up that actually pushed me to keep on perfecting my English in a sense. I think that's put it that way. Like, I don't like losing. I like winning.
大家好，我是 Chris。你订阅我的频道了吗？如果你喜欢我的内容的话，记得订阅一下哦。订阅不用钱啦。那我们就继续看下去吧。
That's right.
Okay. Wow. That's something very different. I mean,
I told you a lot about Jessica, right? But this is the first time I told you about her picking on
that's kind of rude. Yeah, as a teacher at that time, did you tell her this kind of comment could come across as hurtful, not respectful? Yeah, because the accent, we all know, that
it's highly political.
Yeah, right? we don't really talk about it. If only when someone asks me, okay, for example, if any of my students, right, like ask me, teacher, how do you think of my accent? That's the only time I would comment on that, right? So yeah, did you tell her this is not
it's not respectful, right? And then I told her that we are not speech pathologists. We don't correct your articulation. You just have to pronounce words within the intelligibility range so that people can truly understand you or what words you are using. You don't have to pronounce every word seamlessly or exactly like a native speaker from an English speaking country. And then to be fair, if you actually want to do that, you have to move to an English speaking country and then only use that language, use English in this case, for maybe a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years. I think it's only possible in that scenario that you can replace your current English accent with native-like accent. But the accent is just it feeds our, vanity, it feeds our ego, but it's really useless. Like, you dedicate so much time and effort just to brute force your accents replaced by a native accent, but what good does it do to you, right? You just, I'm so posh, I'm so elegant because now I speak English with a native accent. But can you not do that with your own maybe Taiwanese accents and get your messages across? Yes, you can, right? If it's interesting and it's a hobby, it's something like a personal interest for you, then of course you can do that. But if you think that you don't sound professional or you don't sound smart within non-native accents, then I think you have to reflect on that a little bit more. I think that's
I think if you speak with a good that's not say good, just like a very native accent, then of course you would make a good impression. But as the conversation continues and goes on, it's kind of like not just about the accent thing, right?
Like coherence and
and the ideas and the words, right? I still hope to help my students to get an accent that is close to the native accent, because I see this as a way to protect themselves. When you have that kind of accent, you would kind of like make people think your English skills are good.
When I was studying my master's, they called this access paradox, which means as an English educator, it's not necessary to obtain a native-like accent, but the reality is if you do speak in a native-like accent, people will treat you differently or maybe even more favorably. So as an English teacher, you're like, I should not advocate for this kind of intention or action. Right? I should not encourage my student to having to learn or maybe to obtain a native line accent. But then it's reality that people do treat speakers who speak like a native speaker more favorably. And then you're like, oh, that's a huge paradox, right? Do I guess, perpetuate this terrible thing about accents if they do speak English with a native line accent, right? You're like, oh, okay. So what should I do now?